Welcome to Vertical Football, and this is the Chelsea Fans Corner. Yeah, this is a show where we talk all things Chelsea, and in this particular one, we want to do a review. It's a tactical review on the issue of long throw. Yeah, the issue of long throw. In the Premier League this season, 301 goals have been scored in total, and out of these 301 goals, 80 has been scored from set piece. Yeah, that's massive. And the most interesting part of this is out of these 80 goals, 11 have been scored from long throws. Yeah, long throws. We have always known long throws in the Premier League from the likes of Rory Delap, and now it's coming back into play and it's becoming more potent with people like Kayode having these very massive long throws, people like Kevin Shad, people like Mokaile of Sunderland. Like, it's becoming a very potent force, and it's not just even in the Premier League alone, it is all across Europe. In the top 5 leagues in Europe, it's becoming something that is occurring often and often. Now let's trim down to the Chelsea's part. In this season, we have suffered from long throw. Yeah, it's become something that the opponents try to use against us because we are not that good in clearing our box when it comes to area ball. And we have actually suffered one goal, and that goal came against Brentford. But after the games progressed, we saw in a particular match, and that was a match against Tottenham, where Enzo Maresca came up with a very different tactics to counter the issue of long throw. And I found it very beautiful, and I found it very potent because he worked, though one match is not enough to actually claim that this worked. But when you look at what he did in that match, we can say he worked. And let's see how we can utilize this going forward. And I believe when something works, every other person will want to emulate it. And let's see if it will become a trend in the Premier League. So let's go into this particular tactics and let's break it down. And so this is the way we'll do it. You speak about the advantages, and then we'll speak about the disadvantages. So the advantages, I have taken 4 down, and we'll walk through it as we get into it. So the first advantages, or what is this tactics actually? So the tactics is to keep 3 players up front to stand as the attacking guy when the opponent is making a long throw. Yeah, so like you can see on your screen, is Danso is trying to take a long throw for Tottenham, and Chelsea has sent 3 players to go very close to the halfway line, and in the person of Ganacho, João Pedro, and Malo Gusto. And number one advantage that this does for us is it disorganizes the opponent's orientation. Yeah, so you're having 3 players go up front. Like you see in the image there, you find out somebody like Kudus is turning his back to look at what is going on with the guys. You're having Pedro Porro walk back instead of stay close to that angle where you can either get it a shot or where something like a rebound can come. And you're looking at Service Simmons, who have to like come really deep so that he can get very close to this guy in case of anything. Yeah, so this puts us in a very big advantage, yeah, because he puts the opponent in a space where they are caught in 2 minds. Are we attacking these people fully, or do we need to concentrate on defending them? Yeah, and that is a space where as your team, you want to put your opponents into where they are disorientated. They do not necessarily know what they need to actually do. But going forward, we know that's not going to be the case, because teams know you are going to do this, then they will find a plan around it. But it splits the mind. Instead of putting the focus fully on the attack, then you have to break it into 2. Focus a little bit on the attack and focus a little bit on the defense. And that in turn reduce the potency, reduce the damage that the long throw can do. And the second thing is the numerical advantage. Yeah, so the numerical advantage, you can see on your screen here, you can actually count the amount of opponent's player that is in the box. Yeah, and like here, like I've highlighted, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 opponent's player against Chelsea's 8 opponent's player, including the goalkeeper. Yeah, that puts the opponents at a disadvantage, because you are making a long throw. It's going to be going into the box, but it's not going to be as fast as if it was kicked by the leg. So you know the ball is going to be floating up there. And because they have less player in the box, Chelsea's defenders or Chelsea players who are saddled with the responsibility to defense can pick everybody man to man. Yeah, so I think I just need to we need to go back to a game like the game like that should be the game against Brentford. Yeah, that should be the game against Brentford to like see the difference between these two. In the game against Brentford, Chelsea did not deploy these tactics, and what we found out is there was chaos in the box. Like this is it, like you can see on your screen, there is so much player around the box, and most especially in the box six. There was a whole lot of Chelsea players there. There was a whole lot of Brentford players there. So it just keeps us in a space where you don't actually know who to mark, and the whole thing is just all rowdy. But with these new tactics, there is man-to-man marking, and that it becomes very easy for the players to know who they are going up against and just win their aerial duels to get the ball out of the box. And the third thing, like I have touched on a little bit, is it makes the whole environment less chaotic. Yeah, going back to the second goal, Brentford scored Chelsea. Yeah, going back to the second goal, Brentford scored Chelsea. Like you would see, when the ball was getting to one particular point, there was just a bunch of Chelsea players trying to get to the ball. It was just all chaos because there were loads of them there. But when you send three players up front, because you are sending three players up front, like very close to the halfway line, the opponent has to send player there too. And that reduces the number of players that you are going to find there. And one thing you find out is it even puts them at disadvantage because there is somebody that is going to take the throw. So because they are sending three players to the halfway line, and they have one player who is going to take the throw, they have four players out of the dangerous action in the box 6 and box 18. Now all you have there is 5 players to because you have 4 in the box 6, and you have like 2 around in case of drop balls where they can either win the second ball or take shots for rebound. Yeah, so it just makes the whole environment like less chaotic, and everywhere is just calm and cool. And the advantage it makes for Chelsea is it becomes, and that will lead me into the fourth point. Let me not just go all around. That will lead me into the fourth point. It makes claims very easy for Sanchez. Yeah, because I feel like as much as the players who are going to head the ball away are very important, Sanchez is very, very much important for us in the way we want to use these tactics. And why do I say that? You find that majority of the long throw that came in that match against Tottenham, Sanchez had to actually run out there and catch the ball. So because that place is less chaotic, he has space and time to calculate the ball and go for the claim. And he did it fantastically well and went for the claims. Or if he's not even going to get the claim, he needs to get the punch and push the ball outside of the dangerous zone. And the last thing I would say is he puts us in a space where we can counter-attack the opponent. So now they focus on using this as a very potent attacking weapon. Then we know, okay, now we have deployed 3 players up front. We have disrupted their orientation. We have made the environment less chaotic. We have numerical advantage. Now let's counter-attack them. So you find out when in the first half, in the 29th minute, when Danso made the long throw, Sanchez went out because the place was calm and cool. He went and he got the claim, like you can see on your screen. And then he led to a counter-attack, though we didn't really string the passes right. And Sanchez was late. He should have given the ball to Pedro Neto earlier. But looking at this particular image, you just find out, you see how much space that we had to put the ball into that area and get the counter-attacking fast. And it's just because, we have player that is very fast in Pedro Neto, it becomes that one guy who is ready to take the ball and put it on speed. See how much space he had. And then you have 3 players up front. And it still even give us numerical advantage in the attacking sense. Because this is, if the ball gets to Pedro Neto quickly, it puts us on a 4 against 3. it means that he can either take the ball and go on his own and go and get a solo goal, or find a way where either João Pedro or Ganacho or Malo Gusto is going to manipulate their own player and get pass and either get a cutback, and we just do damage to them. So he put us in a very good position attacking wise. He helps us to counter attack the opponent. And I just think it's a very beautiful tactics that Enzo Maresca has come up with. And now we have spoken about the advantages of this thing. Now let's take a peep into what the disadvantages are. And not necessarily like a disadvantage. I just want to say, let's say a loop side or a other side of it where we can be hurt by this thing, because to everything that has a good side, there is a tendency that there is going to be a bad side. So one thing I found out is this is going to be an advantage for the opponent if they have tall players. Yeah, because if you try this thing even against that same Brentford that we played against, to some extent, it might disorganize their orientation. Sorry about that. It might give us numerical advantage. It might be less chaotic. It might be easy for Sanchez to have a claim. But if they have tall opponents, you know that if we do not win the first ball, or if we don't win the first ball, there is high tendency that we might not win the first ball, because you have somebody who is really tall against our player who are not that tall, and then they just jump, flick the ball, and because the environment is not chaotic, they will just make sure they win their duels against their man. So against tall opponents, I think this is going to be very, very dangerous. Yeah, so to the second thing is bad timing. Yeah, I think this bad timing thing, we saw it in the match against Tottenham. Yeah, where Danso made the long throw in the second half. And Fofana, Fofana, his timing was wrong in the way he jumped. Yeah, he had the bad timing in his jump, and the ball just went over him, and the ball went straight to Bentancur. Yeah, and this, because Bentancur was not, I don't know if it was late in his reaction, or let me put it in another way, or let's say it in another ways, he was not really expecting the ball, so you would not necessarily blame him for that. But if you have a striker who has a very sharp instinct, bet me, as the ball is landing, is going to take a first touch into the back of, and the ball is definitely going into the back of the net. So if our defenders' timing are not right, and if we play against tall opponents, I see loopholes in these tactics. Those are the two loopholes that I see in these tactics. Bad timing in the jump for our defenders, and playing against tall opponents. I think we are going to hurt ourselves if we deploy these tactics. So this is just what we have seen in the Enzo Maresca's system. Is a coach I admire a lot. And why do I say that? Is a coach who always come up with actionable plans against every tactics of the opponent. And this is one way he has come up with another plan to go against the issue of long throw against Chelsea. Let's see if it is going to work out well. And let me put it to you guys now that have been watching. What do you think about these tactics? Do you see other loopholes that we are not seeing yet? And what other advantage do you think this brings into the club? So thank you very much for sticking with us. This is the Chelsea Fans Corner, brought to you by Vertical Football. And please, like you have always done for us, please like and share this video. And for you that have not subscribed, please do that. That is what keeps us going. So we see you some other time. Namaste.